Welcome to Rat Girls Podcast. I'm Abigail Jensen, and today I'm doing a solo episode because I saw an article called, "Is it embarrassing to have a boyfriend now?" And I was like, oh, let's talk about this. But before we talk about it, some things I've been up to. Having two dogs is hard. I don't know how any of you guys have kids. I'm so impressed with you because two dogs feels like I'm going insane. I literally I feel like I'm getting you know how moms get touch deprived, or not deprived, touch overstimulated. I forget the word for it, where they've had their kids touching them all day. And then the thought of anyone else touching them just seems awful, and including their husband and stuff, or their wife. And I feel like I have that with my dogs, where they want to be as close to as me at all times, which is lovely. I love that they love me, but sometimes I'm like, get the fuck away from me. I can't be touched anymore. I'm so overstimulated. They want to sit on my lap when I'm trying to type on my laptop. Good problem to be loved, but also two dogs is a lot. And that makes me think, how are the parents doing it? I'm impressed with you. Also, money-wise, it's a lot. I think when it rains, it storms, and I don't want to complain about money because I know so many people have it much worse, but our vet bills have been insane. Joe had a wart that they're testing to make sure it's not cancerous. And so they had to sedate him and then take a biopsy. And then now Bartok has Giardia, and we have to go get Joe tested to make sure he doesn't have Giardia. And we've spent just too much money on the vet. And I don't know enough to know if I'm being messed with basically by the vet. It's when I go to the mechanic, I don't know if they have my best interest at heart actually. And of course I'm going to spend money on my dogs because I want them to be alive and healthy. Where the mechanic, I don't really care to spend money on my car. I have so many people in LA roll down your window, and they're like, hey, you have tons of scratches on your car. I can fix that. And I'm like, no, thank you, because I'll just get more scratches. I don't need to spend money on this. I do need to spend money on my dogs because I need them to be healthy, because if they're not healthy, I will die. So yeah, I don't know how anyone has kids because it's stressful to have dogs. And I was venting to my mom just about how expensive everything is right now. And I don't know if other people with Gen X or boomers parents don't understand it, because my parents do not, where all of their kids, all four of us, are struggling in different ways to, make ends meet, or at least, if not make ends meet, we're not affording a home like our parents could. And I was telling my mom, even if I didn't leave the house, I still think the bills would add up so much that I would still feel like I'm always catching up. And my mom was like, well, your second cousin, they just had 4 kids and they bought a house. So not everyone's struggling. And I was like, okay, well, we don't know their financial situation. Also, they live in the middle of nowhere, which is good and financially stable and good for them. But I have to feel that there are more people feeling the way I am than doing well and feeling comfortable. And no matter how much my siblings and I try to explain it to our parents, they're like, well, we survived off of this month or this much. And I'm like, well, that much is $4 now. So I don't know what to tell you. It used to be every time you'd leave the house, you'd spend $5. Then it turned into $20. Now I feel like every time I walk outside, $100. Also, I got my eyes checked, and that was expensive. I was like, this is just a part of my body. Why can't it be a part of my health insurance? Why are eyes and dental not included? Sorry, I'm spiraling today because I've just been spending so much money lately, and it's so much. And then there's people who are going to lose SNAP benefits and not getting paid because the government shut down. I don't know how anyone's surviving. So if you're in that situation, I just sympathize with you so much. And I want you to know you're not alone. A lot of people, a lot of my friends are feeling that way. But also, I do think the government has a responsibility to look out for its citizens and to feed its citizens and to make sure they have enough money to live and there's affordable housing. When people are like, why would I want my taxes to go to that? I'm like, well, because what else would you want them to go to? Our taxes should go to making our community better. What are you talking about? Anyway, that's my rant. I'm going to get into this article. I kind of did my send it to the sewers at the beginning of the episode. But I just got off the phone with my mom and it was really top of mind. Okay, this article was published in Vogue October 29th, and it's an opinion piece called Is Having a Boyfriend Embarrassing Now by Chanté Joseph. So let's talk about it. Is having a boyfriend embarrassing now? Which immediate reaction goes to like, yes, love this title. This is so fun. Because I'm viewing this as a little campy, a little cheeky, not too serious. It's fun to be like, what's in and what's not in. But let's look at it with an unserious lens and then with a serious lens as well. The beginning of the article touches on how for the longest time we felt like we were living in boyfriend land on social media. So many people's personalities, their posts revolved around their boyfriend, and they didn't have like an identity outside of that. And that was why they posted to show off, hey, I have a boyfriend. A lot of this article is about the way we present ourselves on social media. So I want to talk about like, okay, boyfriend on social media versus not on boyfriend on social media. But I do agree with, for a long time, having a boyfriend was a big personality trait. I remember my husband and I were talking about this in middle school. My friends would go down the phone book. It took me until N, Parker and Estelle, hey sir, if you're out there. And we would call and say, hey, Parker's mom, can I talk to Parker? Parker, do you want to be my boyfriend? And if he said yes, it was like, great. If he said no, it was on to the next. Parker said yes, and we were boyfriend, girlfriend for about 2 weeks. And I'm pretty sure we never talked in person or touched, like high-fived or anything like that. I was just obsessed with the idea of, I want to have a boyfriend, which is obviously, when you're younger, it's so exciting because you're experiencing all these hormones for the first time that are making you interested and attracted to people in this way for the first time. And even though that was middle school for me, I do believe it has considered to be cool on social media to have a boyfriend from 2008 to 2022-ish. I think the 2008 wasn't when Instagram was around. We did have Facebook and you could be in relationships with people, but Instagram really solidified the look at me, I have a boyfriend, look at how cool this is, look at my curated life, my hubby, all these different things. That's where we got the Kaylee culture of, you know, people naming their kids Kaylee spelled in interesting ways, because they made having a family and having a boyfriend or a husband their personality. But then this article talks about how now on social media we are seeing a shift where people are not really revealing they have a boyfriend because they lose followers for doing so, because people didn't tune in to see you and your boyfriend's life, is the reasoning. And so instead of being like, this is a picture of me and my boyfriend, we are seeing maybe 2 champagne glasses clinking. Maybe this is where the term soft launch came from, is people never wanting to fully hard launch because they think a hard launch is embarrassing, like said in this article, and also are afraid to lose followers from it. This article talks about even people who will like edit their husbands, boyfriends' faces out of wedding photos, engagement photos. Part of it being they don't want other people to get jealous. They don't want people to unfollow them. And I do feel like I have seen that where people are posting their significant others less and less, not making it their personality, unless maybe they're in a more religious community, because which I'm not a part of. So I hope I don't offend anyone with saying that, but it just seems from outside looking in, like watching Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, they are very obsessed with presenting their family unit, where maybe people in big cities now are not as obsessed with the family unit, maybe because we can't afford it. Sorry, Mom. And can't have 4 kids. And so instead what they're presenting is themselves. So there are multiple parts of this that are interesting. One, I never want anyone to decide what should be embarrassing based on how social media would react. That's, as long as you are doing things for yourself and having a good time, like who the fuck cares what people on social media think of you? I love the Amy Poehler quote that she said in her book, no one looks stupid if they're having fun. And if you love your boyfriend, I love my husband, if you love your boyfriend and you did a happy thing with him and you want to share a picture and that makes you happy, fucking do it, man. Like, I love that for you. And I do it because it makes me happy. And I don't want to be worrying about reception when I want to share big life announcements like, oh, I got engaged, I got married, oh, we got a second dog who's costing us $1 billion. And all of this, I would say, obviously, do not post or not post on social media because of the public perception of having a boyfriend is embarrassing. And so why does this feel embarrassing in today's society? Well, the article talks about how women now kind of feel like they're straddling two lines. One, they don't want to make their boyfriend their whole personality, which I think is great. You need to be a person on your own and be happy with yourself. That doesn't mean it's embarrassing for you to have a boyfriend. It might be not embarrassing for you to have your boyfriend as your whole personality, but it might be like, hey, like maybe we could work on ourselves a little bit and learn what we like about ourselves. And the other reason is like society right now is so much like, we hate men, you know, which I agree with and I think is valid. And I used to be the biggest like screw all men person. And I still think that about the patriarchy. But I think we're constantly having to say that, or we are saying that constantly, the like anti-men stuff. So then when it does come time to have a boyfriend and you are attracted to this person or you are in love with them, there's an embarrassment because there's two sides of the coin happening. Like, yes, men suck, but not my man. But I do want people to know, like, when I say men suck, I had to explain this. My mom, I love you, but I used to have to explain this to my mom so much. When I am saying men suck, like men do this, blah, 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 I am complaining about the patriarchy. I am not complaining about there are good men out there. Yes, mom, I believe it. I am married to one. I'm not complaining about the good people in this world. I'm complaining about like these statistics we see where men commit SA against women, you know, way more than women against men, obviously, or violent crime is committed more by men. I'm seeing those stats and being like, God, men suck. But like, whereas if there was someone complaining about white women, which I know I'm a part of, and they said, hey, white women do this. And if it's not something I do, I wouldn't be offended. I'd be like, yeah, the majority of white women do that. Or if it was something I did, I'd be like, oh, maybe I should examine this. Do I do this? Where does this come from? Like, it's never been my immediate reaction to be offended by like being stereotyped by a group that is more oppressed than I am. It is interesting that for a lot of people who live in the patriarchal society, instead of immediately being like, oh, let's dissect that, it just like comes to defend. I can't hear anything bad about myself ever. It's giving Lisa Barlow on Salt Lake. The first time I ever felt bad for her was on the yacht though, because the girls really let her have it. Another reason people are saying they're not posting online is because what if I'm with my boyfriend for 12 years and then we break up and I have to go back and get rid of all those photos, which Jesse and I, full disclosure, have even like not argued on this before, but we've just agreed that we have different values on it. Whereas I have an ex who we broke up and I deleted those photos with them because I was like, I don't want people to look at my page, look at my life and associate me with this guy that I don't want to be associated with anymore. Whereas Jesse has an ex and he loves the time he had with her and I'm so happy he does. And he's like, well, this is a snapshot into my life at that time. I'm not going to delete those photos because I feel good about that time. I was enjoying myself. That's a fun memory that I made with another person I cared about. I do think that if you make your partner your personality and are posting them online all the time, then suddenly when you stop posting, people are going to be like, what the fuck? What happened? The little detective hat's going to come on. I love when that happens with someone I went to high school or college with. I don't wish ill will on anyone, but if there's someone who posts their husband and kids over and over and over again, and one day they change their profile picture to just them, and then they're like, their Instagram bio to new beginnings, I'm like, oh, I am clocking in notifications on this person's post. I must know what happened. I must be there every step of the way. Also, I just love seeing a single girly go out and make decisions because I love seeing like the thirst trap stories they post when they feel like free and that they can go into the world and be like, I am my own person. Here we are. But I do think that not everyone views, you know, old photos on Instagram the same way. And I, again, would not not post because of that reason. You can always delete it. You can always repost all the pictures in a carousel you posted with your partner, but cut them out, and it'd be a really funny thing. As someone who is watching to see who did break up, I would obviously love that, because that would be like, oh yeah, they did. There's no guessing there. And then this article talks about the Delusional Diaries podcast, fronted by two New York-based influencers, Hallie and Jazz, and they discuss how having a boyfriend is lame now. And they say, why does having a boyfriend feel Republican? Boyfriends are out of style. They won't come back in until they start acting right. Having a boyfriend typically takes a hit on a woman's aura. So there's a few parts of this, and I love that people are talking about this. I haven't listened to this podcast, but I do, along with just thinking that having a boyfriend is lame now, I do think society in general just thinks apathy is cool, and caring about things is lame, which is not a good place for society to be in. I don't know the age of these podcasters. If they are in their 20s, I think that is how I felt in my 20s. I felt like it was cool to hate on things other people liked. Like, I'm above liking Dancing with the Stars because it's so stupid and cheesy. And then you hit your 30s and you reach a point where you're like, oh, the cheesy things are the things that actually make life good. The cringy things and being excited about something and celebrating, we're meant to have these high moments because there are a lot of low moments. So I don't want to just have low moments and then apathy. So I do think a lot of 20-year-olds or younger people, Gen Z, do feel like it's not cool to care about things. And that goes hand in hand with the boyfriend. So if you're posting online, you're so excited about it, they're like, well, they care about their boyfriend? How lame. How dare they? That's me very much generalizing, of course, but I do have to imagine that's wrapped into it, which everyone, once you discover cringe, you will be so happy. I love live, laugh, love now. I look at a live, laugh, love sign and just think, you know what? We are really just living, laughing, loving. And that's what it's all about. That's what Gracie and I used to always say on this podcast when she was my lovely, lovely co-host. It's the cheesier you are in life, the happier you're going to be. And if you love your boyfriend, be cheesy about it. And I would expect him to be cheesy about it for you too, and make you feel amazing and good. And I think that's what leads us into the boys are stealing our aura, and it feels Republican to date a man now. Obviously, women and men are more split than ever right now. Women are outpacing men in college education, in jobs, whereas men are starting to fall behind a little bit. And along with that, and men feeling disenfranchised, instead of blaming the patriarchy, which is set up by men and is supposed to award men or reward men, but now it's gotten so capitalistic that they can't even feel empowered by it anymore. It's only awarding like the top 100 men or whatever instead of all 1,000 of them. Those stats are made up, obviously. They are angry and they are looking at others in their mind to wonder why this has happened. They are blaming women, they're blaming immigrants, they're blaming people of color, whereas women are getting more left, more blue. They're having more empathy. They're still voting Democrat or wanting to vote more leftist, and men are getting more MAGA and more Republican. Men and women are not seeing eye to eye for kind of in a really big way for the first time in a long time. And part of the reason that is because women don't need men to rely on anymore. I can get a credit card without a man. I can get an apartment without a man. I don't need to settle for a man so I can function in society. And so the reason maybe it feels like the men are stealing our aura or dating a man is more Republican is because men in general are more Republican. Men in general right now feel more women hating. It feels very easy for them to get red pilled, for them to join the manosphere. And so if you are dating one of these men, yes, they're going to be stealing your aura from you. They are going to not align with you in a lot of ways and maybe feel like someone that you have to bend yourself for. And if you can't be your true self with your partner or with your partner around other people, then yes, that person is stealing your aura. Like if you're having to cover for your boyfriend and be like, he doesn't mean it that way. He like really doesn't feel that way. He loves women. He doesn't think, you know, women, the patriarchy should exist and women shouldn't be CEOs or whatever it is. Like if you're having to explain for your boyfriend's behavior, even though it shouldn't be your fault and it shouldn't be on you, but if you feel if your boyfriend's acting a certain way, then your reaction is, I feel like I have to justify this. Yes, that is stealing your aura because that is stealing you being true to yourself and your beliefs. And I don't think having a boyfriend is Republican. I think it's a very funny thing to say. I think that it's funny to call things Republican now. Like blonde people are Republican. People say Sydney Sweeney, big boobs are Republican. Because some things do give Republican vibes. But I think that needs to shift. Funny joke. I love it. I love the joke. But in a more serious way, I don't think we should let Republicans take things from us. And I also don't think we should isolate people who want a family and are leftist or Democratic. But we don't want to isolate people or make them feel weird if they want to have a boyfriend or if they want to have a family or if they do want to be a trad wife, as long as they're being realistic about it and not spreading like propaganda about it, because then that allows us to also have women who work, obviously, who are single, who are doing their own thing. I just think we don't need to judge people who are not causing anyone else harm and living in the way that makes them happy. But I do, in general, think we should stop saying things are Republican, because that gives the Republicans too much power. Because then if a person hears, oh, having a family is Republican, well, shit, should I join the Republican Party because I want a family? My biggest shift that I've done on this, because I used to be very like anti-American flag, anti-country music, and I grew up in Missouri. And so for a while, I loved country music. All my concerts were country music, especially because country music used to be like, let's fight against the man. It wasn't about conservative weirdness and girls wearing short jean shorts, drinking a bottle of beer with their red lips and a Bible verse tattooed on her side. That sounds like a Keith Urban song. Fuck you, Keith Urban. Team Nicole. But for the longest time, when I moved to LA, I kind of denounced all of country music. I denounced those things that I loved, wearing my little cowboy boots out. I denounced the American flag because I didn't feel proud to be an American. Whereas now, I don't want to say those things are Republican because that gives the Republicans like leeway to run with it and to say, yeah, I'm what America's about. Where I think what America's about and the American flag is about is letting people in. We're supposed to be a melting pot, helping my neighbor, all the immigrants that make America beautiful and bring their culture to America. So I'm like, fuck no, I'm actually not going to let these Republicans take the American flag from me, because I'm going to take the American flag for what it means to me. And that is, we're a country that's amazing because of all the diversity, and I want people around me to have equal rights as me and to feel good in society. So I'm done letting Republicans have things. I'm done letting them have boyfriends. If you can find a boyfriend who does not steal your aura, I'm done letting them have families, because even though I don't plan on being a mom, I'm a dog mom, as you've heard my struggles. I'm done letting them ruin things for me. Like, how fucking lame are they that they were convinced that football was only for them for the longest time? I don't even like football. I don't know why I'm going on this rant, but they were like, football is for us and it's for Americans and no one else. And then like Benny Blanco is performing and they're pissed about it. And then liberals are excited about it. And so now Republicans have like country music no longer, because there's a lot of woke country music coming out now with like Zach Bryan, even though, you know, whatever, he has his own stuff going on. But so now Republicans don't have country music and they don't have football, these things that they always thought were going to be theirs. And they thought it was going to be theirs because we gave it to them in the first place. We were like, sure, take it. I don't give a fuck. But I just don't think we should let people take things from us. I don't think we should let things be Republican unless they're like hating other people, because that is very Republican. And I don't endorse doing hateful things or having hateful views, obviously. And then this article wraps up by saying, it's interesting. We used to make being a single woman the scariest thing in the world. Single women are cat ladies, they're spinsters. But now it's kind of this chic thing of this woman really knows herself and is going to be herself. And I think that that's amazing. I want single women. When I was a single woman, I never felt ashamed. I was like, I'm having the time of my life. I know exactly who I am. I get to do exactly what I want all the time because I'm not with a partner and having to compromise like the fun things I have to do. I think single women should feel obviously so empowered, not embarrassed. They should continue. I think people should be single if they want to be single, obviously, because I think by 2030, like 50% of women are going to be single by choice because if men keep continuing to fall in the ways that we're rising and we don't rely on them anymore, why would we be with them? And so I do think the thing that will change the dating world and will change the embarrassingness of having a boyfriend is not women at all. Women have done their thing. They've given it. They're all single life, boyfriend life. We've done it all. It's men changing and being someone that women want to date and want to be proud to date. And then maybe it won't be embarrassing seeming to have a boyfriend. And again, obviously, if you have a boyfriend, it is not embarrassing. I have a husband. It is not embarrassing. I do think there's a nuanced line of if you are making this person your entire personality, not embarrassing, but you should also do some things for yourself and like discover what you love. And if you are in a relationship and the man makes you like give up some of your morals or feel like you have to explain their morals around people when their morals are like they don't believe everyone should have equal rights, I do think that's a little embarrassing. I do think you should not be with that person. I think it is possible to find people who are on the same page with you and see women as people and see people of color as people and immigrants as people. Like, I don't think you should have to be with someone or should be with someone who doesn't see people as equal to them, because even though they love you and you are like maybe their partner in life, they will never view you as your equal, as their equal. Even the highest woman in their eyes will never be as high as the lowest man. And so if you are dating like that, someone like that, just know that you might be on the, same page where you're like, fuck feminism and fuck all this stuff. But when the time comes where something happens to you and it's like gender related or it's men, not picking on you, but it's you versus men, basically, or the patriarchy. A person who feels that way, where they have to uphold the patriarchy, is going to pick the patriarchy over you or pick other men over you. They are not going to be like, you know what, she's my partner, even though she's a woman. I don't care about that. I'm going to treat her equally, or like I want her to be able to get access to whatever and whatever. Is this making sense? I don't know. It's not embarrassing to have a boyfriend. It is embarrassing to have a boyfriend who makes you like defend their morals. It is embarrassing to not have your own personality, but that's just because it's not healthy. So I loved this article. I thought it was very fun, very interesting, and overall not embarrassing, but also very chic to be single. Very it girl to be single. I think very it girl to, even if you have a boyfriend, to have single experiences or experiences not with your partner, to know who you are on your own. That's why I'm so happy I was not in a relationship for so much of my 20s, because I feel like I really know who I am. I was able to travel to Thailand by myself and do things where friends were mainly the focus. And I do think when I started dating Jesse, I got lost in the sauce a little bit. I was obsessed with Jesse. I was stigmatized. And I was really mainly just hanging out with Jesse and not giving attention to my friends, which is something that I really regret, because I do think I lost myself a little bit, because friendship in those relationships, women having relationships with women, is such an important part of our well-being and who we are. And so then once my anxious attachment went away with Jesse, I felt totally secure with him. I started going out into the world and prioritizing my friends again, which I should have been doing the whole time. And my friends even said, like, we don't look at you and Jesse as a unit. Like, I look at you as you. Like, when we invite you to come out, we don't expect you to be like, oh, is it okay if I bring Jesse? Which it would be okay if I did that. And, but I think also it's important for Jesse and I to have time apart from each other. And for if my girlfriends want to have girlfriend time, for me not to be like, I'm going to bring this man with me. I don't want to ruin the aura in that way. But Vogue has been impressing me lately with their articles, and especially Teen Vogue. Teen Vogue is like doing a really great job of breaking down things that I just aren't as talked about, really. Like, they're breaking down feminine and masculine energy and how it just continues the gender stereotypes of the world, and how even labeling things as feminine or masculine is like continuing gender stereotypes. I'm really loving the work they're doing. And so, yeah, the teens are all right. The teen Vogue girls are all right. And speaking of like men just getting more red, talking about teens just reminded me, I had a girl I used to babysit growing up who's the most lovely, lovely human in the world. I went home to Missouri and we got 7 Brew together, which was cute. It's the fancy sodas. And we just like chatted for a few hours. I caught up with her. It's so fun. When I babysat her, she was like 8 and now she's 16. And so I love hearing about her life now and all the fun things she has going on and what has changed. And she brought up that dating in her school is not that cool because the men, when they have girlfriends, they don't want their girlfriends to wear certain things. They don't want them to be allowed to go to certain parties. They are being very controlling of their lives. And this is anecdotal and like not, obviously everyone's like this. I'm sure there are amazing boys too. But it just was interesting because I don't remember that at all in high school. And then our other neighbor, who's a little older, she's in college, was saying when she studied abroad, a lot of the girls she studied abroad with weren't like allowed to go out or go to the other places because their boyfriend in the US was not comfortable with that. And I don't know, it feels like the manosphere is leading us to this weird place where men want to control women, and it's probably a reaction to women being more independent and them feeling like they're losing us, rightfully, because they are, and they're like grasping at us, trying to control harder and harder, and we're just gonna run away further when they do that. And it's a really strange thing to think that someone can have control over another person's autonomy. And I'm just happy that my neighbor had like the wherewithal to be like, yeah, that's just not for me. I don't want to date someone who makes me feel bad. And I think that's what it comes down to. Like, me saying don't compromise on your morals for your partner. Like, just don't date someone who makes you feel bad. And if you are doing it, it's not your fault. You know, people get in toxic situations often and it's so hard to get out of them. But just once you know yourself, it is harder for that to happen. So spend time single if you haven't. And then if you get a boyfriend, yeah, fuck yeah, post them. I want to see them. I want to see how hot they are and be like, oh, good for you, girl. But also have your own things going on too. Okay, so that was our main cheese. Did I even say the main cheese was that article? I don't know. This is a blur. Send it to the sewers this week. I feel like I kind of went all in on boomers and Gen X, but I'm going to just fucking continue with I'm sending to the sewers boomers and Gen X not understanding how hard this economy is. And also, like, these fucking billionaires or rich people feeling like they are just trying to get richer. And so, like, they're cutting, you know, what is it, like 30,000 jobs from Amazon, when Amazon already makes $60 billion in profits, UPS cutting jobs. The rich just trying to get richer and focused on not people and not the big picture. Because if you don't have people in the economy getting paid, who the fuck is going to buy your stuff? I am just disgusted by how capitalistic we have gotten. And it should never feel like we are racing to survive in a society. People used to work like 20 hours a week or some shit back in the day. And now they have us working like 60 hours a week. And if you don't, you can't survive. And if you do, you still might not be able to survive. Of the 40 million people on Snap, I hope that's the right number, like, so many of them have jobs and they still have to be on Snap because these companies can pay $0 to no dollars because the minimum wage hasn't been raised in forever. And then people have to work multiple jobs to make a living for themselves. And all this time because the minimum wage hasn't been raised, or because, you know, companies want to replace workers with AI. they just continue to get richer. The like I'm Bernie, the top 1%. I'm that meme where it's like what my boyfriend thought he was going to get when he dated me. And it's like, cute little girl. And it's like what he actually gets. The top 1% are taking 100% of the wealth. But it's true. And it's driving me nuts. And I feel crazy that millennials can see it. Gen Z can see it. But Gen X and boomers cannot see it because they're kind of in the last of the middle class. And I do know, like in this talking about, is having a boyfriend embarrassing? We're talking about not gender wars, but like gender differences, where like all our common enemy is capitalism, is the billionaires, because they're the ones who are so excited when we turn on each other because then we're not looking at them. So this whole episode should have been, is being a billionaire embarrassing? Yes, because that's what everything else goes back to. And when we talk about rich people, we're not talking about like people making $90K a year. I'm not worried about them. Like they can be rich in that way and have that money. I'm talking about the billionaires who hoard the wealth. We should not have people who have that much money, especially the ones who, like Elon, is just getting more and more, and not like the people are not giving back. Trickle down economics does not work. The amount that Elon donates versus the amount of I donate, I don't know. I know to this day I donate more of my percentage of my paycheck to people than Elon does. I'm sure of it. And I don't know, it's just disgusting. I just heard Jesse come in. I'm done screaming and ranting. I had 2 things of iced tea today, so I'm up and at 'em. I love you, feral friends. I hope any of this made any sense. Like I always hope, because I'm just ranting away. And yeah, I love you. I hope you have a good week.